Hello everyone, my name is Grace and welcome to Plumbob Cubed. This is the Lepacy Keaton household reno. So this is a really cool build, I think. At this point, we're just going through and deleting everything and getting the price up so means we can afford more things. The way that I decided to do this build was open up another Sunset Valley world. And basically with that world, I just used what the Keaton household was, and you can actually see me here start to recreate it. Here apparently is right now actually. So this is around the point where I started recreating the Keaton household, just moving it a little bit to the left or actually the right. See, the thing is I'm literally driving and I don't know my right from my left, and I'm one of those people that think it would be kind of funny or interesting to get a tattoo of like L or R on my hands. I would most likely still mess it up anyways. I'm not there cognizantly, okay? So I decided to move the house a little bit to the right just because I think it fit better with trying to include a garage rather than just like a detached garage. So I decide that I'm moving it over, and I actually decide to do a subterranean garage because, it's fun and interesting and enjoyable. Totally. At this point, I am just retracing the house so it looks the way it was before. And this is where I start to decide to do the garage because I thought it would look cool. And I wasn't sure how far I wanted it to go down, so I just did a little bit extra. Just that means I could delete just in case. This way of making the subterranean garage is by a tutorial on James's Turner's channel that he made back when he was playing The Sims 3 of underground garages. I'm not sure if I can link to it below because apparently YouTube's linking laws are being weird and I don't understand it. I'm just here. It's that simple. So another problem that I did encounter with this build, as much as I was trying to avoid problems, was I got expansion packs. That was part of my gift to myself for Christmas. There was a sim sale where things were like basically like halfway off, 50% off, and I was like, "Okay, this is a great opportunity. Like I need to take it." So I decided that I would get the packs and it would be great. And one of the problems I encountered was just things not loading and things not being. First off, the packs wouldn't go into my game like smoothly for some reason. I also got store content because of getting some sim points and registering all those stuff packs, right? And one thing that was super difficult was getting my store content to register. And I don't even fully remember what I did to make it work. I just vibed and did my best, man, okay? Because realistically, EA was not helpful when I asked them for help. Another thing that was interesting with the stuff packs that I got, I was able to download pretty much everything except Fastlane stuff, because that just didn't show up a download option. And when you message EA about it, they um they don't really care and they don't really have a specialty for games that are not brand new and bringing them a bunch of money. So, I mean, The Sims 3 with store content, you'd think they'd still be gaining a bunch because there's people like me who are just like, well, no, I need to get it ethically rather than a mod. Who cares? Really, who cares? So at this point, I'm still trying to figure out all the foundation and everything I want for the build and how I do want to change it a little bit. As you see, I decided to do a whole like range basement, spinning the entire house rather than just doing the little garage part. I think that was a good choice on my side. I think it really so basically the way that I decided to use the basement is to put more car space in because I am horrible. You can see this with the Porsche build too, of actually including enough space in my garages to fit the car into. I'm just not good at doing that. I don't know why, but I'm just not good at it. So, excuse me for a second. Oh, I just got a bunch of air in my chest. My apologies. So I expand the garage more than I expected it to. And then I kind of made it more of like I want to call it a man cave, but I feel like that's sexist because it's for everyone in the household. Like, it's just a space where everyone could kind of like enjoy and play games and watch TV, and just kind of like a separate space. And we also have the boys' rooms down there just because I thought that'd be like fun, and kind of the idea of like the boys having their own space and doing everything like that. So, this is the part where I decided to start doing siding. And the way that I started learning how to build was essentially through how to save money, right? So my brain doesn't want to go to the expensive wallpapers. It wants to go to the, I don't even know what it's called. It's like half wall with, I I want to say dildo, but I know that's not what it's called. And so my apologies. But basically going to the half wall option where it's like split in between, and then just customizing that so it matches on both sides is how I learned how to build things, because it would help save money. And so naturally that's what I'm used to building. And so with this beautiful siding, we're going to run into a problem eventually, because I'm like, "Oh, we can do like a split what do you call it? Split stone with split siding." And that didn't work out because the three panels of wood didn't match up with everything else. So I just decided to, instead of using the siding, use my beautiful wall that is halfway done because it is effective. And I go back and forth on the outside exterior color a bit. I know I wanted yellow because that's a favorite color of the Keatons, and that's what their house was originally, but trying to figure out what I wanted with like the stone, and if I wanted it to be more gray. And I really wanted to figure out something that when you look at the house, especially this way, it looks very unbalanced, because it looks like there's a whole bunch on the right side, and the left side just kind of has this little squat thing that is technically 2 stories but just doesn't work that well. So I believe in this part, decided to go in and make dormers because I figured it would help make it mesh better. And I'm going to have some difficulty with these because I didn't know where I wanted to put the dormers. I was just like, something needs to work here. I also didn't know how high I wanted them. It was a whole issue, but we figure it out, and I think it looks better in the end. And I think that's the main thing that we're all going for here, right? I don't know what you want me to say about this. This is just basic constrained floor elevation. And is this where I actually have it figured out the first time? Maybe. No, I didn't, because unfortunately the dormers were too tall, so I had to redo everything again. Yes, so classy, so efficient, so helpful. But I really think spending time on the outside of a build can be really helpful to get what you want and to make it look good from the exterior. Because realistically, the exterior of this will probably be the thumbnail. You know, did you like the exterior and click on it? Thank you so much. So getting it a little bit lower, just enough, so that means it could more be hidden by the roof, was important. And then we could just delete the extra side. I didn't put on the back of anything, like it just kind of ends openly. But that's fine because no one's going into these dormers. They are too small. So I just delete it until it's not visible, and then there's no like closing section, unfortunately. I just think this makes it look a little bit more balanced and more asymmetrical. So I really appreciate that. I tried figure out if I could place windows in the dormers, but I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get it, which was frustrating to me. This is where I start doing the windows. And I know I wanted to keep like the big windows that they had originally in the Keaton household. I'm not necessarily such a big fan of having like big windows on the front of a house. I think it could kind of look invasive to privacy. So I went for these, I want to call them ventana. Ventana is window in Spanish, in case you're wondering. I think it's like, it starts with a V, Venanza windows. I don't know. but I liked them. I also realized there that I wanted to put a little bit of a porch on the back of the Keaton's house because that's one of like the classic aspects of it. But one thing that I've always disliked about the Keaton's house when I was playing is just how funky that porch was. It looks so uncomfortable. So I was like, I want to create a more pleasant looking porch. And I think I do a good job of doing that. And still figuring out what windows look the most symmetrical. I am really into having balance on my houses, in case you can't tell. And at this point, I think I am actually surprisingly happy with the house, like the exterior of it. Like looking at it from a secondary perspective with like some space, I'm just like, yeah, no, this actually looks cute. But who knows what I thought in the moment. I did build this, like, finished building it about a month ago. Over a month ago, to be honest. I just have been stressed out with school and stuff, which is why I was gone for so long. Just school and transitioning to working 30 hours a week. It was a lot for me. So this is where I decided to start doing white and green for the house just because I think that'd be cute. And it kind of keeps with the Keaton's original thing of like light colors. And I don't necessarily get the green, honestly, with the Keaton house since their favorite colors are yellow. But I did want to incorporate it since that is part of like the original part of the house. So this is where I start trying to figure out floor planning. Haha, that was fun. And one thing that I've started doing with my floor planning is using the walls to like spell out what's happening, which is really funny to me. So basically, I would go in with like, K, kitchen. Oh, wow, that's such an obvious cut, and my game was being really slow here. Well, anyway, we decided to make the basement even bigger, and something that I cut out is this beautiful, funky wall thing situation I had going on. Because I thought, oh, I want to do like an L or a U-shaped staircase. And that's what I was doing. But then I got store items. Store items are lovely. I got this little L-shaped stair that comes with it comes with like the art gallery that black glass blowing also comes with. So I got that and I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I love it. We can put it in the Keaton house. And that's where part of the problems came, is that the stairs just wouldn't load into the game. And I was like, oh no. I also at this point decided to do a wooden ceiling for the basement. I just think it adds some nice texture. I think that's really fun. And I have to figure out how I want to use the porch in the whole conundrum of the basement. I think ultimately I decide to just let most of the porch be covered, and I think that's what I settled on and what made me happy. Part of the thing that I did struggle with was figuring out how to like plan out the basement because I did want a decent amount of cars down there. So that was something that I struggled to get. Now this is where the K actually becomes the kitchen. And I go through a bunch of my items and I'm thinking, oh, maybe we should put a bar here. But one of the things that is difficult with The Sims 3 is that when you put counters, it has this like little back thing, right? That sticks up onto the wall, which you can't like get rid of and you can't stop that. And that's really difficult when you're trying to like make it seamlessly from a bar into the counter. And so it just didn't work out real well. And so this is where I was like, oh, we should do some cabinets. I want dangling pans. I definitely do want something to like separate the spacing from the kitchen and the eating, but I wasn't sure what exactly I wanted. So I kind of played around with different options. I know that I am one of the many people who love like the Sims 4 trick building videos. Will be like, you can make built-ins using cabinets. And so I would do that a lot on my Sims 4 homes. So I was trying to do something similar in the Sims 3, which something that I am very excited about is that one of this amazing Sims 3 modders has actually made something similar to Tool in the Sims 4 for the Sims 3. And I am so excited to start playing around with it and get it downloaded into my game. And at this point, I realized that we had this little like crook and nanny. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do with this little crook and nanny. That's also right next to the bathroom. And I kind of thought, oh, it would be like a good space for like reading and sitting maybe and just watching. We put sunflowers in because sunflowers are yellow. It's amazing. And I do keep this little serving table. I like having serving tables in my house just because they're good for parties, even though it's $250 and half of the food doesn't get eaten, so it's kind of just a waste. But I really kind of like what I did with that little seating nook. I think that makes it pretty homey. And I do end up changing the position of that door in this bathroom, I'm fairly confident. Yeah, changed the positions. So that means we can also fit a toddler. I'm trying to combine toddler and toilet into one word, but basically I make a toddler toilet. I struggle so much with that, and that gave me that space. One thing that I struggle with is there's this beautiful cheat in The Sims 3 called like place freezies. And I so badly want to use it. I thought it would work beautifully as like this kind of half wall area for next to the stairs since it was a little awkward. But I just cannot figure out that cheat. I can just not get it to work. And I don't know why, because I would love for it to work. I just struggle so much with it. And so the funny thing to me is that I got basically the right side of this house figured out. And then I was just like, oh great, I have this bunch of new space on the left. That's inconvenient. So ultimately, I play around with multiple configurations. Like maybe you just walk in and boom, there's the living room. Perfect, right? I don't like that though. I do play around with different couches because I splurged because it was on sale of the Havana couch living room set. And so I really enjoyed that. I was thinking, oh, maybe I should put the couch like in a little corner. One thing that I saw on Sims 4 YouTube was like putting a little bookcase in, like having a built-in bookcase. That's what I'm trying to say. I thought it was absolutely adorable, so I tried to do that too. And I realized I couldn't get these up and turn it without some stuff that I didn't have. You could probably do it with one more slot, but I didn't have that in the game yet. And you could probably do it with the tool mod now. Oh, excuse me. So this is where I try to figure out what I want to do with the beautiful garage, because I realize, oh, it's too skinny. It does not work. So I decide to put a parking space in that little like nook that you see. That basically gets a parking space, which is very helpful. This is figuring out the beautiful terrain and how we want it to look, built in and natural and really sweet. I decided, hey, I'll help get a, a car in, is putting one outside. So I think, they can keep the police car outside. It's actually interesting because one of my neighbors, they work for the county police department. So they have like the police department car just parked outside their house. So everyone knows like, don't mess with us or something. It's hilarious to me. I think this point is where I kind of had the basement figured out a little bit. I realized that behind the stairs would be a great point to put a bathroom. So I wanted to do that. And then I just kind of struggle with all this space, figuring out like, how do I want it to be a game room? How do I want it to really be like this enjoyable space that Sims can play in? And I struggle around with the configuration, and ultimately the thing that I'm realizing now is that when I don't know what to do, I just decide I'm gonna go to a different part of the house. So I go upstairs and try to figure out floor planning. Oh, I couldn't figure out the floor planning upstairs. We're going down again. So this is actually something that I really struggled with, is what to do with this right side of the house once I got past the stairs. I was like, should I make it like a bedroom space? But how do I make the bedrooms equal? And I got stumped again. So I went down to the basement. I was like, I can draw a wall here. Yes. So that's where the boys' rooms end up going, the little end of the basement. And I keep thinking also in this like main floor space of I want to include a bathroom. So like where can I include it that like it's comfy? I thought, oh, that angled wall might be cute, but it just kind of looked funky and uncomfortable. So I didn't want to do that. And so I play with all these curved, not the curved walls. I wish they were curved. I play with all these variations of like what we could do. And ultimately, I do decide on something that is not this. I decided on making an office and a bathroom instead of trying to do all these like slanted walls. It's called diagonal walls, not slanted. One thing that I wish we had in The Sims 3 was slanted walls. I think that'd be so cute, but we don't, and it disappoints me every day. But it's okay because it would take a lot of technology. This, as you can see right now, we're working on the floor plan for the master. And I think that's really fun because it gives them a closet and also a master bath. And this is where I figure out how I want to include the original tile from the Keaton's house in the new house. So I figure out, okay, I can do like this little square pattern and it looks kind of cute. So I decide that I'm going to do that and have like a little green square and everything radiating out from that little green square. And I think that was a good choice on my part. I think that looks really cute. And I really do appreciate that. This is the Swift Grow Station, which also, if you go to the Sims 3 store, is on sale. And one of the cool things about the Swift Grow is that's supposed to help plants grow better. And like something, I don't know. It has a good description. Everyone recommended it, so I was like, okay, we're getting it. And this is where I'm playing around with the fencing because part of the Keaton's yard in the original house is that they have fencing. So it's like, I want to include that and I'm not sure how. So I worked it out with just like a white picket fence because during my fundamental years of how a house should look, I was watching Little Simsy and Little Simsy was obsessed with picket fences. And so I just was like, yeah, let's go for it. This is where I got one more slot. And I really struggled with Archer's room because I lost one of the one more slots into the floor. And so just everything wanted to click there. Archer's room, I think, is just so cute. We have like the little reading chair with the little animal on it, with the little stuffed bear on it, which I think just really makes it. It's really sweet and really kind. And then I decided, oh, we can have his own like little computer to do his writing on, just like in his room, which will be really sweet. And then I want to clutter up his desk with all this stuff. And as you can see, I put the globe in the corner. And the point of having the globe in the corner is for the very simple thing of it's just adorable, right? And it brings like world adventures. So I think that could be like a really good, it's not necessarily a reference, but I just thought that you might appreciate the little details. I appreciate the little details. I think it's really cute. So that's what I did. I tried to figure out like a carpet situation in his room because I was thinking like, oh, you know, it's the basement. It probably has like concrete floors because in case you don't know, carpeting is not good in basements. It's just, it can result in mold. It did in my house when I was growing up. There was mold in the basement because we had carpeting. And this is where there was there quite simply was a one more slot hidden in the ground that I couldn't get. So everything was trying to click onto that. And I just got out of my mind frustrated. This is something that I think is so adorable that I did. So that little layout there under the chair is basically a like scratch pad, I want to call it. Like my thing has it. You can't hear it right now, but I'm rolling back and forth on my little scratch resistant mat. So that means like hardwoods or anything that's important doesn't get damaged under your chair and the movement of your chair. So I thought that'd be like really cool to put in with Archer. With Archer, I decided to put in all these posters that are kind of more like movie-esque posters, but I figured that it could like maybe be the movie based off of the book. And like maybe Archer wants to like make a book that becomes a movie someday, you know? I was really debating like what do we want to put behind his computer that he looks at. And I decided on this kind of framing of this detective novel because I figured, like, oh, maybe that's his favorite book. And that's why he wants it there, so means he can look at it. And whenever he gets writer's block, he just looks up to that painting. He's just like, you know what? My favorite author, you're right. You're inspiring me. I have to keep going on this book. And I just think that's really sweet. I think that's really cute. One thing that I didn't really incorporate into this build in his room is that he's supposed to be brave. That's part of Archer's character traits, is that he's brave, which, we'll see that more with World Adventures. Yeah, totally. So this is where I realized something with Gunner's room, is that bookshelves, it's not called a bookshelf. That's the thing I'm going to be stuck on. The little tables here only hold so many fish tanks, and I hadn't gotten the packs yet. So I was like, okay, I want to make him like a fish tank gallery kind of situation. And so that's what I decided to do with the one more slots. And my piece of advice for you, if you want to do this, because you don't have a fish tank in your game, but you want to create something akin to the fish tank, which is like a collection of beautiful little, fish bowls. You call them fish bowls. Start from the bottom. Start from the bottom of where you want this tower of coffee tables to be, and start there and be like, okay, we're gonna place it on the ground, and then all the one more slots go up from there, rather than doing what I did and starting at the top, because that just causes difficulty at the bottom. Okay, man? That's my advice to you. So at this point, I'm figuring out how I want everything to go in Gunner's room. I included the stereo because I know one part of the Sims 3 stereos is that you can do workouts on them, which I think is really cool. And so I want to include that, where maybe he could do a workout in his room. And one thing that I did intentionally is that for Gunner's room, I included more not necessarily childish, but more age appropriate illustrations of a little bunny dancing, a giraffe guy, because I figured he's still a child and he's willing to keep playing with toys and stuff. Sorry for the yawn. Meanwhile, with Archer, I figured that maybe he's really holding on to his adulthood. No, he's really trying to get there with his adulthood and be like, yeah, I'm an author. I write books. I'm basically a teen. You should consider me a teen. Well, I feel like Gunner is more no, I'm still your child. So this is where I decided to do open shelving in The Sims 3. Base game with some additions. So the way that I do this is that with the bakery that you can get in The Sims 3, you get a little shelf, right? So I took that little shelf, shoved it in, and then I put stuff on the shelf, and it was so cute, adorable, absolutely recommended. Now this is where I decided to start going with the whole office theme. And I was like, oh, Justine can do in here. And I really wanted to fit the glass blowing in, man. I just think the glass blowing is so cute and fun. But I also figured in their room of studying, there should also be some kids stuff, since they need to wash over the kids. But I was like, no, because then we don't have room for gym equipment. I figured gym equipment could also fit beautifully in the study. Now, if we're talking in real life, I do not want a sweaty person working out next to me as I try to edit a video. If I'm recording something, I do not want the of the treadmill coming into my recording. I just don't think that's great. Or, if I'm on the computer trying to do schoolwork, again, don't really want someone's sweat flinging onto me, but we're just pretending that it doesn't exist. I, of course, decorate the desk with a bunch of beautiful little things, and right next to the easel, you can see I put a little side table and I put a little makeup palette on it, because The Sims 3 is make believe, and in my head I'm make believing that this is a little not a makeup palette. Wow, I know what I'm talking about. A little oh gosh, can you tell that I don't paint that much? It's a little baby palette. It's an art palette. It's a paint palette. And so that's the idea. That's supposed to be a little paint palette that's absolutely adorable and that Justine's like dipping into, and that magical palette that she summons from her hands when they start painting, it's actually being picked up from there. And it's so cute. It's so cute. So this is, oh my gosh. I decided to do a little grand entrance to the Keaton's room. Specifically the master room with a little arch, and I decided to do a little two-way doorway just because it looks even from the inside, even though it doesn't necessarily look even from the outside. I think that's fine. And then I include a little balcony space that is going to have some really cute stuff in it. It's going to have a telescope and some lounge chairs where they can just kind of enjoy. And of course, we do all of the beautiful, I want to call it ceramic. No, all of the beautiful like pattern tiling that I figured out upstairs. We put that in all the bathrooms, even though it was originally in the kitchen, just to give it some of that like original Keaton household flair. You know, really get to like enjoy it. Now with this entrance area to the basement chill zone, I was kind of struggling with figuring out how things go. But ultimately, I got like the 2 hoops on one side of the door, and then there's going to be like a little arcade machine on the other side of the door. And so I think that's a good compromise. I think that's a good decision. Now, this is where I was thinking, oh, we're going to do Nora's room, and it's going to be so cute. Oh, not Nora. We're going to do Xana's room. In the most recent episode of the Keatons, Nora and Xana have the same hair, and it drives me insane, and I can't remember it. I was like, oh, I could make it like a little toddler room. But then I thought, oh no, I probably won't get this done in time for Xana to still be a toddler. So I said, okay, I'm going to make it a children's bedroom. And so I put a little guitar there. I put a little cheerleading thing. And then I thought later, oh no, the cheerleading won't work. I put a little club board. Someone should be a little club leader. But unfortunately, I did learn in the most recent episode of the not the Master and the Brawler, the Lepacy, that kids can't have clubs. I edited it out of the video because the video was already so long and it was at the end and it just was kind of like gonna waste our time. So I was like, we're just gonna get rid of that. At this point, I noticed that I was feeding a bunch of stuff for the kitchen, so I just pulled it out to put it in the kitchen. And I think that was a wise choice on my part, just to put little accessories in the kitchen. I was like, oh, we could put the cookie jar above the fridge. It'd be so cute. But like, I couldn't exactly figure out if I wanted it. And so I go back and forth on that a lot. Like, I'm just really not sure of that decision. Really unsure. And this is where I try to look for open shelving. Realize we don't have it. And I'm just like, well, I'll make my own. You can't stop me. I'll make my own. And I think that's a really creative idea. And I think that's really fun. It's kind of awkward though, because things wouldn't fit in the bookshelf. Not the bookshelf, but like the display rack. Things wouldn't fit. And so I was like, oh no. And so I did my best. I did my best that I possibly could to make it look adorable. But in Xana's room, I do put a little dance floor because I figure like she's a little music-y girl. And I have that little stereo that she can dance to. I do end up putting like a dance floor, which in my forsaken memory, I thought I had to take it out. But in the Lepacy, you can watch me play and I still keep the dance floor in, so I guess the dance floor worked. Turns out that the problem wasn't the dance floor. It was the dollhouse. It always is the dollhouse. I do not know why that dollhouse just does not get along with anyone. I don't understand it, but just the dollhouse it's a nuisance, apparently. And I put this little curtain over the door, which I think is adorable, and it turns out that actually works, and it made me so happy seeing that. Because it just looks adorable. I was trying to figure out where to put like this paint thing that also comes with the little art studio mabob that glass blowing comes with. I decided to put it under the painting in the office because like then Justine can store her stuff there. You know, that's where all her extra paints come from. And I decide this is basically the foyer, right? That I was designing a second ago. And I was like, okay, I want to have like a little seating area because I think that'd be cute. I was like, but I also want a little like, I want a little side table so I can put stuff. So I just made the light go into the side table. It's fine. It's fine. And this is where I'm trying to struggle with like figuring out the TV. I want to kind of do like built-ins with the TV. I'm really obsessed with this idea of built-ins, man. But I couldn't figure it out. So the TV unfortunately did not get built-ins. I tried with these little side tables to get built-ins, but then it just would have been in the way of the TV or in the way of the stairs. So it didn't work out. My dreams were unfulfilled. So one day I will get my built-ins. I will get my little Sims to have built-ins in their house. But today was not that day. Today was not that day. But I'm still doing it and hoping anyways. So this is actually the point where I begin to feel like I'm going to pass out from talking too much. So I'm going to stop myself from talking, get some water, and then I will be back in a second. All right, thank you. It is Grace 2 back again to do some talking for you. I have approximately 37 minutes left to talk. So the one thing that I have learned from doing this voiceover is that this may be disappointing, but unfortunately I have to breathe. Yeah, that's inconvenient. Very inconvenient. Apparently I am not used to having to take in oxygen. And the thing is, this is a little bit different than like filming videos and talking over the videos, because for this, I hate to tell you this, but I'm being lazy. I'm trying to do this in as few recordings as I possibly can, which right now currently means 2. Well, actually 3. So right after I said bye-bye to you in the first recording, I took a sip of water because I only had a sip left, put it in the screenshots that I took of the household because I forgot to put them in earlier. And then I was like, okay, let's get back to recording. And I started talking and I just got so lightheaded. I felt like I was going to pass out. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I should get some water. I would like to live, at least today. So I'm going to do that. My boss expects me at work tomorrow. So I really enjoyed playing around with like the bathrooms, getting stuff in. I realized that the toddler toilet just would not make it in my design for the bathroom, so I just put it in little Nora's room. And that works. So this is where the master bedroom, I get into a little bit of a situation. So for the master bedroom, it's gigantic. And I was like, maybe I should put it in the corner. Maybe that'd be like cute. And it is, but it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out at all. So I have like a burp coming. So I'm trying to like get away from you so you don't hear my burp. Ugh, it's like in my heart. It's the weirdest thing. So basically what I decided to do with the master bedroom is 2 beds. Because, well, Marty has told Justine that he doesn't want kids. And I know if I was Justine, I would be furious. I know. It seems like I cannot get over this. But it's just wild to me. Because I understand that like I got the mod afterwards. I'm stocking up on reproductive health stuff in their little area because it's important to have that. It's very important to have that. But it's just wild to me because I know it's a mod. I know I could change it. I know that'd be fine. But it happens in real life of people like having kids and then someone actually telling the truth and communicating me like, actually, I didn't want those. And that's so upsetting and so annoying and so unfair to the parent who wanted kids. Because this is where I get on my high horse. But doing stuff just to appease your partner is not helpful. And as much as it may feel like you're appeasing them, it's just making your life and their life worse. So one thing that I got frustrated with, do you want a little personal story time? We're going to do that. With my partner, it was a day and we talked and we realized how we could save some money. And I was like, oh my gosh, can we go on like a date? Like a old-fashioned date, right? Where like you take me out, we get food, we do an activity. And I was so excited for that. And the problem that we had is that, one, I took them to eat at a place that was not from their culture. So my partner is Hispanic and they prefer eating Hispanic food. But I took them to a white cafe. And so when we got there, they just said, there's nothing I can eat here. And I was like, no, it's the same things that you normally eat, just named differently and repackaged in a different form. And I really had to like argue with them a little bit. And it turns out they were able to learn something. Turns out they like hash browns. You know, I I taught them that much about themselves. And we had like a little bit of a fight, but then I talked to them afterwards and I said, hey, well, they actually talked to me. I was like frustrated and they turned to me and they said, Grace, I need you to like, I need to tell you the list of reasons why I'm mad at you. And they took me aside. They told me the list of reasons that they were mad at me. And I listened and I was like, that makes so much sense. Thank you for telling me your perspective. And then I told them the list of reasons I was mad at them. And they was like, okay, perfect. And then I was stressed out at the time, so I also started crying. And they was like, are you crying because of me? I'm just like, no, I'm just really stressed out, man. There's a lot going on. And so because we were able to communicate effectively and say like, hey, this is my list of grievances with you right now. What are your list of grievances with me? We were able to come up with a solution. And that's honestly part of the reason why I'm so grateful that I'm with my partner, is because they want to effectively communicate, even if it is unnatural for them. And so that's why I feel safe with them, honestly, because I've asked them about like kids and stuff. I'm just like, are you interested in having kids? And I was like, yes. And one thing that I think is super important to talk to when you're discussing a partner and trying to figure out if they're the one for you is asking, what do you think of disciplining kids? Now, this is where it comes to a difficult thing with me and my partner, because, well, they have a different idea of disciplining kids than I do. And I'm just like, no, we need to be emotionally healthy parents who are there for our children and don't discipline. Well, we do discipline them, but we're not like mean to the kids. And my partner's just like, my mom hit me. I'm just like, no, we're not going to hit the kids. That's not normal. That's kind of abusive, man. And so it's difficult to communicate that. And so for me with like the Keatons, it happens so much that people just don't communicate with their partner about what they want, and then things just don't work out. And so that's why I do want to include that storyline, because it's happens a lot, and that's really unfortunate. Anyways, back to the house rather than my love life and Kate and Justine and Marty's love life. I was trying to figure out something that would like hide this space in between the stairs and the foundation. And I come up with a lot of ideas that don't really work out. You know, doing like some molding and stuff, doing like little, what do you call it? Dressers, side tables. And then I I use the little thing that comes with the little art gallery and I try to put it like down, and I try to like put it down lower so that means it shows up. But then I find these beautiful little cubes. I was like, I can just use the beautiful little cubes. And it was a great choice. I really love it. And I put a little mirror in front to like hide that it doesn't cover up the whole way, honestly. And I think that's a good compromise. I think that was a really good idea. And I think that it's really like kind of seamless, honestly. Well, it is not seamless. If I could have my free C's, I can't say the word, then it would probably look better. But considering what I was able to do, I think that I came up with a really good solution. And this is where I start coloring everything and getting it the right color. So basically, I started watching Plum Dot, which is a really cool YouTuber. They also have a Tumblr. And the way that I saw them build houses is that basically they would put down everything and then they would start placing colors. And I want to call it color grading because I'm used to images and videos and stuff. But it is not color grading, it's doing the create style. So my brain naturally decided, oh my gosh, they're good at decorating. They're so cool. You know what I should do then? Follow the exact thing that they do. And so that's what I've ended up doing. I just kind of took their style because I think it's so cool and really nice and like also really smart of like getting everything down and then you can like figure out the colors. Because a lot of things in The Sims 3 match more than you would expect it to because you have the ability to change colors and all that other important stuff. So I think that it's really helpful to consider that. Oh, and we're figuring out all of the floors in the basement. We put like this green flooring that I think is absolutely adorable. And then I did wood flooring outside. I'm pretty sure it's just the wood flooring that I got from the roof of the, what do you call it? The roof of the, no, it's not called the roof. From the beautiful ceiling. That's the word I'm looking for. Ceiling. And I play around with different wallpapers and different options that we have. And I think that's something that I really enjoy. I was trying to figure out like the best way to make the kitchen look and feel the way I wanted it to. And something that since watching Plum Dot, I've discovered in following their advice is that there are a lot of cool patterns in The Sims 3. And so it's really fun to play around with those rather than trying to like make everything this, how do I want to describe it? This very like plain ideal. I like having like the patterns and have it interesting. So I play around with that a lot and figuring out like what looks good in different spaces and what really like complements the space. And I change my mind a lot, as I am known to do. But I think I figured it out in like a way that makes me happy, in a way that I think is like really cute. And so the one thing that I know from paying attention is that like really cluttered designs and like really busy supposedly are better in smaller spaces because it's less of it. But then in bigger spaces, it wants to be like a less crowded design. And so I was like trying to keep that in my heart and soul when I was designing this house and really getting to like optimize what was there and trying to make it like look cute and sweet. And so I think I did an okay job of that. I'm not sure. So actually, I want to tell you guys something. So for my little brain, when I'm doing these little like voiceovers, my brain tells me that I can't drink water because it's gonna like disrupt the flow of my words and you're gonna hear me drinking water. It's gonna be so uncomfy. But I also understand that well, most people don't like it when someone passes out in front of them. And I feel like it would just leave me more work if I passed out while recording this. I don't think that'd be smart. So here's my ASMR of me drinking water. Oh gosh. One of the things that I really appreciate, I got a new mic, which I think is so much fun. And with this new mic, I have a mixer with it, which is so cool. And the reason why I wanted a mixer is actually because I was why am I just frozen here, man? I could not decide apparently. It's because my friend, I heard them talk on a video call and their voice was so pretty. It was so stunning. I absolutely loved it. And I was like, what do you use to like make your voice sound that way? And I was like, oh, I have a mixer. Like that's how it sounds so good. And I was like, I'm getting that. So I got a mixer. And right now, the only filter I have on it is a noise gate. So that means you can't like hear the background noise of where I'm filming in. And I think I want to talk to my friend and be like, hey, whatever filters do you recommend to make your audio sound so freaking cute? Like, I really want that. This is where you can see I go into obsessive details, and I make every ceiling, rather than just being plain white, I make it white with a yellow tint. Not full on yellow, but white with a yellow tint. I'm just very extra, okay? I commit to my house looking cute, okay? It's totally not a waste of time. It's totally worth it making the ceiling just white with a yellow tint. Totally worth it. It's kind of, for me, it's like, what other color would you have the ceiling? Because in the houses that I've lived in my whole life, the ceiling has just been white. Like, there's been no other color. And so to me, it's kind of just like, it'd be so cool to have another color. And so one thing that I'm looking forward to is I'm hopefully going to be finding a place to rent in the near future. And I'm hoping that that place lets me like paint it myself. And I'm really excited to like make it cozy and comfy. Now, this is something that I am so excited for. So in Xana's room, you can have like, there's a snowflake wallpaper that if you take away the snowflakes, it looks like little stars in the galaxy, which looks like a little nighttime celebration, which is so stinking cute. The bad thing for like when you're playing the game is that you can kind of still see the like snowflakes reflecting a little bit, even if it's all black. But it's so cute. Like, it's fine. It's totally fine. And I think that it was a really good decision. And from what I can tell in the video recording, you can't even see it that much, which I think is interesting. And so I really appreciate me deciding to do that. Past me is so smart. I was so committed to getting these ceilings white with a tint of yellow. Now, I do have a question for you all that I would appreciate if you could comment below what you think. If you don't want to, that's a-okay. I love how I'm literally saying, hey, could you comment? But if you don't want to, like, no pressure. Like, no, guys, don't stress. I stress. You don't. But something that I am going to do that is going to be out tomorrow, actually. It's going to be out on January 3rd in my head. I don't know if that will happen, but I gosh darn hope so. So I'm going to start doing a pre-recorded series called 100 Days in Riverview. And basically, I actually have the note on my phone of why I'm doing this and why this is such a good idea. Do you want to hear it? This is why you have to watch my little thingamabobs, my little speed builds. That means you hear the stupid things I'm saying. So, pre-recorded 100 days in town, specifically all of the store towns, because there's a decent chunk and you don't know if you want them. So I'm starting with Riverview because I'm struggling to figure out how the other. So I bought Hidden Springs and Monte Vista from EA, like the Origin app or whatever EA app, right? And just won't let me install them, which is a fun problem that I'm still figuring out. And when I contacted EA about it, they were just like, this is just an issue that we're experiencing. Please be patient with us as we try to fix it. And it's like, oh my gosh, I spent money and you don't even know what's happening. Okay, great. But we're starting with Riverview because of that. And the notes I have is 100 days in every store town with only a single sim. Meet everyone in town, visit every lot, etc. And play with like the different features that Riverview has. Because I think it is a really interesting town. So I would, if you want to, I think it would be so cool for you to like check out that series. It will be posted on January 3rd if I get it my way, which is also kind of a time crunch for me. And basically the thing that I want your opinion on is that it's going to be pre-recorded basically. So right now I have one episode recorded, right? And I did have a plan for today that got thrown off. That my plan was to actually record another episode today, record the second episode. But basically, since one thing that I'm disappointed with myself in is that when life got stressful and there was like a lot going on, I kind of quit doing this like YouTube thing. So it means I could focus on other stuff. But, according to analytics, according to all that good stuff, that's like not a good strategy. And so I think rather than trying to like be perfect and like figuring out how to manage my life in this great, amazing manner, getting something pre-recorded to basically guarantee that you all will have content to watch each week, even if my life is currently a chaotic mess, I think that's like a good compromise. But I want to know how you guys feel about pre-recorded content, if you're okay with that, and if you like the idea of like going through 100 days in each town. If not, I'm sure we can find something. Well, I mean, I want to do it, so I'm probably going to do it anyways. But, if you have any serious ideas, I would absolutely love that. But I do want to be honest and frank that for my well-being and my ability to, like, produce content consistently for you guys, probably some things will have to be pre-recorded, even though that kind of, like, sucks the engagement out of it. I think the most important thing is that you can still interact with it, right? Most likely through baby names, because I need baby names. Come on, guys. I would love for you to comment baby names in any video. I will literally write down a record of it. I need baby names. And so I understand that it can be awkward, but it's something that is really interesting to me. Now, this is where I'm going through the house and making basically everything fit into the color scheme of green or yellow. Those are the two colors of this house, except for the kids' bedrooms, because the kids' bedrooms have their own favorite colors. And I think I had an idea of doing like a green countertop with the counters, but I did go for gray, which is a little boring, but green is kind of out there, so I do understand kind of toning it down, even if it is boring. And I do go in and try to make all of like the steel and all the metal match, because one thing that I think is so fun about The Sims 3 and just basically just The Sims 3 in general is that you can have everything match. Your woods can be the exact same. Your color shades can be the exact same. It is marvelous. Like The Sims 2 doesn't offer you this, The Sims 4 doesn't offer you this, but The Sims 3 does. And it makes my little heart so darn happy. There is currently snot in my nose. I am sorry. It makes me so happy, like having things match, having things align, getting it like the exact way that I wanted. It just like fills my brain with intense joy. And so that's one of the many reasons why I like The Sims 3. It just makes my little brain go, yes, it scratches that itch. And so that's my recommendation. I understand now that The Sims 4 is free. So because of that, The Sims 4 is more like accessible to anyone who wants to get into The Sims. Even if for a lot of people who are in The Sims community don't feel like The Sims 4 is that good. I think that the way that I was introduced to like The Sims 3 was because I started playing The Sims 4. And so I think as much as The Sims 4 is disappointing a lot of the time, it's a good gateway to get people into the Sims franchise. And I think that's so cool that people can like learn things and discover all this cool stuff. And I know that I prefer The Sims 3. I just think the gameplay is more interesting because there's so many options, and I feel like the mods in The Sims 3 add content rather than making the game playable. And I think that's a super important difference. Like, if it's literally modders who are making the game tolerable to deal with, then why are you playing it? That's the way I see it. And I'm also terrified of mods in The Sims 4. because when I was like 10, I got mods for The Sims 4, and I invited my friend over, and I was like, oh my gosh, we should play The Sims 4 together. And then my Sims couldn't interact with the fridge and couldn't eat. It was like a pre-built like house in Oasis Springs. So it's like, I'm never getting mods or CC in The Sims again. And because of The Sims 3, it has helped me get past those trust issues of being like, no, you can have some CC, you can have some like default replacement hairs and some default replacement skins, because it makes the game pretty. And it's worth it. It's worth it to splurge on yourself sometimes. Okay, that's the moral of this. Splurge on yourself. And go ahead, get The Sims 3 so you can get that wood all matching. That's the memo. One thing that I was a little stressed about in this house was making everything accessible, because I think it's a really cute house, right? But one thing that concerned me personally was like, if Marty could get on the treadmill, which we could actually see in the Lepacy that he could, which made me so happy. Right? That he could get on the treadmill and then the house was functional. That was really a joy to me, because I feel like for a lot of times for me when I build houses, it's so my Sims can live there, but it's also because I want it to look pretty. And looking pretty is so much fun. Like, look at this little cherry. Look at this little cherry bedspread. That's so adorable. We love it. And so because of that, I was like, you know, functionality comes second to cuteness. Even though something that is absolutely hilarious to me is that I don't often play with the walls up. And it's one thing on a debate that exists in the Sims community that I am aware of is like, should you play with the walls up or not? And I try, but I am that little freak in my head that needs everyone to be controlled by me and have all of their like movements precise. And so I have like this fear that if I'm not in control of the Sims and I can't see them, then they're doing shenanigans. And I just don't want them to be doing shenanigans. So I always stop them. And so I always have my walls down so I can like monitor them. And so one thing that I've been trying to do, like in my Let's Plays and stuff like that, is specifically when Sims are talking to other Sims, letting it be more natural. Because part of the cool thing about The Sims 3 is that Sims have personalities and they can dislike each other. And so something that I try to consider is like letting my Sims interact with the townies without my input, right? So it's like, okay, Justine, talk to Monica for a little bit and let's just see if you two vibe. And I think that's given me a little bit less of a need for control. And it gives me more storylines, hopefully. But it takes some stuff out of me not to just constantly be like, befriend, get to know. I wish befriend was an option. You just click it and they're immediately friends. Ugh. Instead of clicking like, get to know, chat, gossip, tell a funny story, tell a dramatic story. Like I know myself that I like to fill up my Sims social cues, so it's just completely full. There is no room for error. Everything is fine. And the socialization can't be weird. And that is something that is kind of important to me. It's just something that I haven't like really. It's just my like need for control. That's what it is. Now, something funny about this house is that I go in, I get everything matching, I make it look great according to me. I love it. But then once I got it done, I was so excited that I forgot to put in windows. Well, no, I did put in windows. You saw me put in windows. I forgot to put in lights because normally I use the debug lights. And I saw a post specifically on Reddit that like wall lights versus ceiling lights. And I liked how the wall lights looked better. So I was like, okay, I am forever and always using debug wall lights from now on. More me drinking water ASMR. And so that caused me using the debug lights. And when I got in to play with the Keatons for episode 31 of the Lepacy, I was like, oh, this house doesn't have lights in it. I was so excited that I forgot to see if there were lights in this house. Darn. And that makes sense because I get really happy. When did I decorate this backyard? I'm sure. Oh, I just put stuff out there that I thought was cool. Okay. So something that I did with the backyard and stuff is that I just kind of saw what I thought was fun and cool when I was going through, and then I just kind of dumped it in the backyard so I would know to put it in later. And so that's why I was confused for a second, just like, huh, when did that come from? And so I think that it's really cute. I really do enjoy like the pack stuff that I got because it really brings that life to the backyard, and it just shows a little bit of a difference rather than like what a base game backyard would look like. And part of me worries that like with the stuff packs, I'm kind of cheating with the Lepacy. But another thing that I feel like is that the stuff packs don't add like meaningful game. They don't change gameplay, right? They add objects for gameplay that kind of already exist. And so like technically we didn't have an arcade before in Sims 3 base game. We have a cow. We could put a cow in. That made me so happy. But it still just kind of like expands upon like video games which already existed in the Sims 3 base game. So I feel like that's just kind of like adding another feature, and it isn't necessarily like cheating or being unfair. Except laundry. Laundry was not supposed to be there. And I had to go in and try to figure out how to fit laundry bins into every room. And Archer's was a struggle. Like, Archer's room is packed because it's cute and it's well decorated, in my opinion. He better like it. He better like it. And I decided to have an outdoor kitchen and an outdoor dining. I like the idea of like having I decided to do an outdoor bar because, you know, I couldn't do the bar on the inside. So I was like, we'll do an outside bar. Like, let's go for it. And again, I couldn't get the counters to work the way that I wanted to, because when can you ever? So I want to see what solution I came up with. I think I just let them be a gap in between. Honestly, I respect that. Being like, perfection is impossible. I give up. That's rare for me. So I put in, I was looking, oh my gosh, why am I so confused? I put in the fencing. I was thinking maybe I should put in fencing where the little half wall was, but I decided not to do that. And something that I didn't know what to do was that little space out of the window of the dining room of what to put there. And so that's why the cow was considered for just a moment, okay? It's a cow. Cows are cool. Okay, I really like them. But ultimately, I decided to put a chess set there, which I think is a good option. I also really do love this little, like, theme of, like, the really, like, I want to call it, like, garden stuff. Garden stuff that's, like, really, like, sweet and delicate because I think it looks really cute outside. And I really like it. And is it patio stuff? I don't know. I haven't really explored that a lot. I looked through to try to put like tongs next to the grill because I thought it would work, but I put a little kit next to it, which I figured, you know, it's good. There's a little scarecrow. There's a little scarecrow next to the Swift Grow, and of course everything is custom colored except like I think the play equipment, because I was okay with that being generic. And this is where I decided to do a little bit of landscaping. Now, I do actually enjoy landscaping. One thing that actually got me into like building was doing if you actually go to my Sims 4 gallery under like Arlene172, because that was the original name of this channel, you can see that I posted something that's like Julius Caesar Memorial, and it had like all this landscaping. And that's what got me into like building, really, is landscaping. Am I good at landscaping? I mean, it depends on your opinion, but I think I could definitely improve my landscaping game. But just doing like some little bushes was important to me. I do not put any landscaping in the backyard, just like out of time's sake and also money's sake. It just didn't really line up with my goals and my aspirations for this build, and also money. I wanted the cost of this build to be about like 200,000. And I got that. I got around that. I think I might have gotten a little bit extra, but I don't know because I don't have my glasses on while looking at this recording. Yeah, I desperately need my glasses. But I think the landscaping in like the front does make it look cute, does make it look a little, I want to call it niche, but like glitzy. Glitzy is not a word either. But I think it makes it look more personable and like a real family lives here rather than just like it is a structure. And so I think I stuck with like the lazy daisies, the marigolds, and and I got some sunflowers, I thought. And the perennials, the yellow perennials, because I thought that like looked pretty well together, and all kind of had like this bright color scheme with like the rest of the house, which I thought worked pretty well. So now, this is where I show you screenshots of the house. These screenshots were taken all in build and buy mode. Because, I put the house down for the Keatons because I was so excited, and then I realized that I threw a party, and so the whole house was messy. This is my fault for not having good guidance and good foresight, but it was so fun throwing that party. So this is where I have to tell you that if you enjoy let's plays, if you enjoy speed builds, oh my gosh, I know how to say things. If you enjoy let's plays, I have like, I want to say, if doing the math of 31 plus 16, only 15 right now, is I need to get this math done. It's 46. So I have 46 episodes of Let's Plays you can watch that are actually still continuing. If you like that. For speed builds, I'm working on rebuilding or building Deary Meadows as like a save file. Deary Meadows was made by My Sims Reality, full credit to them, but just building things and giving a storyline for that, I'm working on doing that. So I have more speed builds planned to come out. I'm not sure what days I'll be posting them, but they are planned to come out. So if you like this kind of content, if you like my voice and my personality, feel free to subscribe. Again, a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe. It means so much. Really, just watching means so much. Like if you made it all the way to the end, it's been an hour of your life. Why are you here? Like, I mean, I appreciate it, but also, you could be playing The Sims instead. So, yeah. But thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you really enjoyed this build. So, if you want to see more of this build, the Lepacy is where you check out. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video that you decide to watch, all right? I'm going to keep talking until this thing runs out, but I really hope you do decide to keep watching. All right, bye-bye.